Welcome. Good morning, and welcome to the Rick Helps Real Estate Show. We're trying to make sense of this crazy Arizona market where we arm you with information and stats on what's going on. So not only will you understand where our market is, but you will be a hit at all the cocktail parties. See somebody in the other room and you hear them say, "I wonder what's going on in the real estate market." Well, that's your moment. So we're going to take a look at the effect on presidential elections on real estate. Why? Because I get told it all the time since 2016. Well, I'm waiting until after the election. But then when you pose the question, well, why? You don't really get an answer. It's just, I'm waiting. So we're going to look at what some economic professors say, real estate professionals, and some money market managers say about elections, what they say, what they think. Then I'm going to pour into the numbers and say, well, let's go back and let's see if there were any changes in the past few elections that we've had. Now, there's always other influences out there. The big crash of 2008, pandemic 2020. So that kind of muddies the water a little bit. I also get a lot of comments that say, well, Chairman Powell is going to prop up the current administration. So, they're going to intervene. Good morning, John. Now, my answer to that one is, well, he better hurry. We've only got 6 months. If you're going to juice the economy, it takes a while for money supply to pop up and start doing that. And if you aren't doing it now, it ain't happening, folks. So I don't see the central bank jumping in today to juice the market. That's my personal opinion. And it's going to be a wild year. It's going to be, social media has sped everything up. It used to be, the old black and white TV, and you get the newspaper and you get your news when you get your news. Now it's instantaneous. Get to look at real estate numbers. They're changing all the time. And I'm going to show you where our market is today. But let's get rocking and rolling on this election stuff, shall we? Here's a few experts here. And now keep in mind, they're just offering their opinion here, but then we're going to look at the actual numbers. This guy's name is Al Lord. He's the founder and CEO of Lexard Capital Management. Now, what he says about elections, they affect the national housing market and mortgage rates through three interrelated channels: uncertainty, policy, expectations, and consumer confidence. Okay, cool. Uncertainty about election outcomes in the future political and economic landscape may cause buyers and sellers to be more cautious and take a wait and see attitude. Now, that's a common theme that you're going to see in this, that it creates uncertainty and a wait and see attitude. And I've been shouting from the rooftop about this for a long time, and I finally think I can show you why I believe it's nonsense. Not the wait and see. That part's true. Presidential election years often come with a degree of uncertainty. There we go again. This is an adjunct professor. They can impact investor sentiment and economic activities, including the housing market. Historically, we've observed a wait-and-see approach from investors and consumers alike, leading to fluctuations in demand for new mortgages and homes. The anticipation policy changes can cause lenders, for example, to adjust their risk assessments, which in turn influences mortgage interest rates. But when we go and take a look at it, I don't see it. Here's a real estate agent. During election years, there's often a notable trend of a market slowdown, especially as the election date nears. That is true, but we're pretty slow right now, folks. I don't know how much slower we're going to get. Let's take a look. 7-day moving average here. We're staying right here. There, the black line at the bottom is number of contracts. Now, it's been considerably lower before, like 2,425. Now you can see on the ticker down there, we're at 3,000. Our new listings went up just a hair. Our active listings went up a little bit. Interesting. I got a text message from our friend Jason Maggard up in the Pacific Northwest just about 10 minutes ago. Get this. He says, and I'm looking here for you, year over year, week over week, we got new listings exploding at 5-year highs, and pending sales at near all-term lows. Active inventory is going up 4 to 5% per month every week. And I said, wow, not here. We're not seeing that. John here says, I'd like to share some info. I work with the steel industry, mostly commercial industrial. I sold TSCM project. That's the Taiwan chip plant. I had a meeting with a big developer last week in the Phoenix area. mostly about multi-story residential. He was basically shutting down any new investment in this market till the end of 2024. So no new projects in the pipeline. I was a little shocked. He also made comments about the industrial sector being overbuilt and that the absorption rate is roughly 4 million square feet per quarter with 60 million available. That's not good. Yeah, those are not good numbers. Multifamily, I think they're wise to start shutting that down, John. We're seeing an abundance of multifamily. And, the developers that are using their heads, time for them to shut them down. I mean, we're going to get back to the election stuff here in a second, too. But check this out. Kind of backs up what's going on with multifamily. This is build to rent. Phoenix is leading the country right there with 4,030 build to rent homes in our market. Nashville's down here at 537. So renting is the way to go, according to some of these people. And, we're seeing more and more of these projects coming up. Another comment down here says, consumers may be more cautious awaiting the election outcome to gauge possible changes. Now, here's what we know. We're seeing both professors, finance people, real estate agents saying, well, things slow down. People wait. They delay. I'll never forget. I was out filming something. I was in Scottsdale, and this lady was talking to me, asking me what I was doing. Told her I was in real estate. She goes, "Oh, I'm going to wait until after the election." And I said, "Why?" "Well, I'm just going to. I just think things can turn out badly." I said, "Well, they can, but they're not bad yet, and they might. It's just November and December is what you want to watch. They're not going to lower interest rates in November because they don't even meet until December." As far as the central bank is concerned. Now, bond traders, that's a totally different thing. But when we look at our average sales price, let's take a look here. I pulled up election years 4, 8, 12, 16, and 20. Now, 20, you got to take 2020 and you just got to throw it out because we were right in the middle of the pandemic and everything was just going nuts. So we just kind of got to get rid of that. But then you got to look and say, okay, between November and December, even October, what changed in those election years regarding our prices? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. The trend that they're on, especially 2016, look here. Flat. Pretty much flat all year. That was a pretty contentious election, wasn't it? Trump versus Clinton. A lot of anxiety, a lot of press. Everybody's all worked up. Monthly average sales price. Ho-hum. Didn't do anything. Now we're going to look. This one's a bit of an eye chart here. Let me blow this up. Hopefully it keeps what I have here, but this shows sales per month per year. So if you look at 2004, okay, December usually always dips down a little bit in November anyway, just because it's the holiday season. And these are sales per month. So the recording on December means the contract was written in November. And John here says 2008 was a disaster. Yes, that was, that wasn't because of a political election. You can see that in this chart here too. Look at that, John. So our sales numbers, there's nothing definitive here. It's up, down, up, down, up, down. Nothing really there. And I agree, John, that's still on people's minds, but it's on people's minds for all the wrong reasons. Nothing has changed. The prices haven't changed. The volume hasn't changed. The direction of the market hasn't changed. The anxiety changes. Here's our active listings today. They've gone up slightly, according to the Cromford Market Report, up a little bit. Are we going to follow in the footsteps of the Pacific Northwest where it starts exploding, or is it going to come back the other way? My gut tells me we're going to be flat a little bit. I don't know where this has headed. But here's my point on the elections. It's true. Every expert out there says people have anxiety. People want to wait. I got an itch right here. They just want to sit it out. But then in reality, when they go and look, and the itch is not going away, they were waiting out for something that never came to pass. Well, I don't want an election because I think prices are going to go down, and they didn't go down. Well, I think, it's going to be harder to get a loan. It really wasn't. President Bush, I think it was 2008, interest rates went down in December, not November, not prior. Central bank lowered rates in December. Again, why? Well, they only meet once a quarter. They don't meet in November. And if you lower rates in November, that doesn't do anything. It's too late. They meet in the middle of November. No, they don't. They meet in the middle of December. I know a lot of people equate 2008 with the election, which is furthest from the truth. My parents just said that to me over this weekend. So to your point, anxiety causes contraction. It does. And 2008 had nothing to do with who was running for president. Now, there were policies in place prior to that may have did lead up to the failure in the banking system that could have been avoided for people that were paying attention. They didn't. That's a policy issue. Now, if you're that forward of a thinking person when you're looking at an election, say, okay, in the future, I think this administration that just got elected is probably going to make bad financial decisions, then you can hang your hat on that. You can say, this probably isn't good for us. But saying that it's going to be different in January than it is in December has not happened in our market. So I urge people, we're going to have anxiety. Everybody's got their guy. I want this guy to win. I want that guy to win. You got local people running. If you're a real estate agent, you're putting out open house signs, good luck. The intersections start getting a little crowded. They can't see your open house sign because you've got Sally for mayor and this judge and that judge and Biden and Trump and all the signs are there. But the cities, they regulate where you can put your open house signs, but they don't do squat about election signs. Rick, what's the typical slowdown for months for Phoenix in the real estate market? Let's take a look at that instead of me guessing. And we'll take a look at sales per month here. And let me take the filters out if I can. Bear with me, folks. This is live, so I'm going to take all the years here and blow this up. And you can see, like here's 2023. And January, this lowest month here was November. The lowest months always tend to be between November and January as far as sales. Now, statistically, we get the most number of new listings show up every January. There's a wave of optimism. It's a new year. Here we go. Also in January, though, is when people tend to overprice. There's a little bit of euphoria, optimism, new year, new day. We get followed up by the largest number of price reductions in February. Well, that didn't work. Let's lower the price. And then we see that happen again in June. June, we get more listings. July, they adjust them. Why June? Well, school starts here at the end of July. People like to get ready to move, and they're starting to see some more listings coming out, and it kind of, rinse, wash, and repeat. So December listings just kind of fall off the map. People they cancel them. They let them expire. They just don't want to mess with selling their house over the holidays. That happens every year. It'll happen again this year, and that's what I expect to see. But I will say, since 2020, with everything that's gone on, seasonality has disappeared. The word normal cannot be used in our market or any market right now. There is no normal. We've never seen this much cash infused into the market ever in the United States. So trying to predict how this is all going to unwind is what everybody's trying to wrap their heads around. Is it we going to come out from underneath this healthy? Are we going to crash? Are we going to have a soft landing? It's the discussion of the day, but nobody really knows for sure. So we're all waiting. And then add to that the elections. People are going to sit on their hands. Now, that could be good for you if you're a buyer. People are sitting their hands, they're waiting it out. You have less buyer competition. That's less bidding. That's less people that you're trying to compete with for that house. If you're listing, nobody else is listed, and you're seeing that there's not a lot of houses on the market, well, that's an advantage for you as a seller. Now, the Cromford Market Index, which measures supply and demand, now shows us total in the valley as a buyer's market at 110. I mean, not a buyer's market, a balanced market. So we're already there. But it's so regional that Chandler and Gilbert are off the charts. They're brisk. That's described as a frenzied market when I looked at the heat map on Friday. So it's neighborhood by neighborhood. Be interesting year. Now, to drill into a little detail, I want to encourage you to go to my real estate site, which is rickhelps.com. And up in the top here, I have added a section where you can download the recent Arizona Real Estate Market Report that's put out by Tom Ruff, who's with our local MLS. And it looks like this. You can download it. I don't need your email. You don't have to sign up for anything. Click on that link. Boom, you can get it. I'm going to update it every month for you. You won't be put on a mailing list, but if you want to be on a mailing list, I have a newsletter in the description below. It comes out every Monday morning at 7 a.m. And it's just a quick snapshot of what's going on in the market, and it goes great with your coffee. But this is the stats that Tom Ruff puts together, and you can take a look at this if you enjoy looking at all this stuff and reading his commentary. And you can get it off of my website here, Rick at rickhelps.com. You can also look for homes here, and you can get a detailed home value report if you're interested. And the homes are listed up here, and you can filter it out. It's actually, you're looking at the MLS just like I do. So we have an IDX feed in here, and you can get it. You can save your listings, yada, yada, yada. John here says, I've been watching the Blossom Rock community just as you gauge in optimism with an estimated 10,000 new homes. Do you know or have shared the sales numbers for the community? I have not. Jessica went out there. Thanks, John. I appreciate it. Jessica was out there on Friday in a development near Blossom Rock, and she was looking out there and previewing homes for a client. Those are out by Apache Junction. They're flying off the shelf. She said they had 4 contracts a day she was there. We're going to go up and look at another new build community up north, but that's where everything's happening, is in the new build communities. But you shouldn't discount resale, because one of the discussions that we had on Friday was, are the new builds including a pool? Nope, they don't. And their pools are expensive. So get an existing house that already has a pool, and you don't find yourself facing that expense. So that's kind of a little tip there. And because the existing houses with a pool, you don't have to go out and spend an extra 50, 60 grand to finance another loan to get your water in your backyard. And the new builds, once you buy a new build, you've got all those landscaping costs. Now, new builds are throwing in incentives. We're going to give you $20K to fix up your yard. I know in one, they gave us $29,000 in Queen Creek. They bought down the rate, and ended up being a pretty good deal. But you're buying dirt, so it's pretty easy to spend that $29,000 on a new build. And people are willing to do it out in these outlying areas, especially in Surprise and Buckeye, and now Apache Junction. So I have not been to Blossom Rock yet, John. I plan on going out there and taking a look at it and see what all the hubbub is. I don't live too far from there, so I can take a peek at it. So I hope this information helps. If you have anxiety about the election, I can't help it. I'm probably going to have anxiety about who's getting elected too. I also marvel at how many people are still undecided. Seriously. One's been in office 3.5 years. One hasn't. This one has been there before. If you haven't made up your mind now, just don't vote. That's about as apolitical as I'm going to get here. Everybody have a great Monday. Take on the rest of the week. Take care.